The sun streamed through the curtains, casting a warm glow across the room as I sat on the edge of the bed, absent-mindedly scrolling through my phone. My partner Alex was in the shower, and I could hear the faint sound of running water echoing through the apartment. We had been together for years, and I believed our love was unbreakable. But that morning, everything changed. As I scrolled through my social media feed, a message notification popped up on Alex's phone, which was lying innocently on the bedside table. Curiosity piqued, I glanced at the screen, expecting to see a text from a friend or family member. What I found instead turned my world upside down. The message was from a name I didn't recognize, but the content sent a chill down my spine. It was explicit, intimate, and unmistakably romantic. My heart hammered in my chest as I read the words, each one feeling like a dagger to my heart. I felt a knot form in the pit of my stomach as I scrolled through the conversation, my eyes widening in disbelief with each passing moment. It couldn't be true. Alex would never betray me like this. But the evidence was right there, staring me in the face, taunting me with its cruel reality. I stumbled to my feet, my hands trembling as I struggled to process what I had just discovered. My mind raced with a million questions, but one thought burned brighter than the rest. I needed answers. Steeling myself, I made my way to the bathroom door and knocked softly, my voice barely a whisper as I called out Alex's name. The water stopped, and a moment later, the door opened to reveal Alex standing before me, a towel wrapped around his waist and a look of confusion on his face. I didn't waste any time. I shoved the phone into his hands, my voice shaking as I demanded to know what was going on. At first, Alex tried to deny it, stumbling over his words as he struggled to come up with an explanation. But the truth soon spilled out, each word more painful than the last. He had been cheating on me, with someone I never would have suspected. As the reality of his betrayal sank in, I felt like the ground had been ripped out from beneath me. My mind reeled with disbelief, my heart shattered into a million pieces. But the worst was yet to come. With a heavy heart and a voice thick with emotion, Alex uttered the words that would haunt me forever. The person he had been cheating with was my own parent. My world tilted on its axis, the room spinning around me as I struggled to comprehend what I had just heard. How could this be happening? How could the two people I loved and trusted most in the world betray me in such a cruel and unforgivable way? Tears blurred my vision as I stumbled backward, my legs threatening to give out beneath me. Betrayal burned like a wildfire in my chest, consuming me from the inside out. In that moment, everything I thought I knew about love and loyalty was called into question. The foundation of my world crumbled beneath me, leaving me stranded in a sea of heartache and despair. As I stood there, broken and alone, I knew that nothing would ever be the same again. But little did I know, this was only the beginning of a journey that would test me in ways I never could have imagined. The echoes of Alex's confession reverberated in my mind, each word carving deeper into the wound of betrayal. My heart felt like it had been torn asunder, the pain so visceral it was almost tangible. But amid the shock and devastation, a fiery rage began to smolder within me. I confronted Alex and my parent in a whirlwind of emotion, my voice a trembling symphony of anger and hurt. The air crackled with tension as accusations flew and tears fell like rain. I demanded answers, begged for explanations, but all I received were hollow apologies and feeble excuses. Alex tried to justify his actions, claiming it was a mistake, a moment of weakness. But there could be no justification for such a profound betrayal, no excuse for the irreparable damage he had inflicted upon our relationship. And as for my parent, their silence spoke volumes, a silent admission of guilt that cut me to the core. In the days that followed, I found myself adrift in a sea of uncertainty and pain. Every corner of our once happy home seemed tainted by the memories of betrayal. Every whispered conversation, a painful reminder of what had been lost. Trust, once a cornerstone of our relationship, now lay shattered at my feet, irreparable and irretrievable. I struggled to make sense of the chaos that had consumed my life, grappling with feelings of anger, grief, and profound disillusionment. How could the two people I loved and trusted most in the world betray me in such a callous and unforgivable manner? The questions echoed in my mind, tormenting me with their unanswerable weight. As the truth of Alex's infidelity spread, so too did the whispers of scandal and betrayal. Friends and family members offered sympathy and support, but their well-meaning words fell on deaf ears. How could they possibly understand the depth of my pain, the magnitude of my loss? In the midst of my turmoil, I found solace in the unlikeliest of places, within myself. With each passing day, I grew stronger, more determined to reclaim my life from the wreckage of betrayal. I may have been broken, but I refused to be defeated. And so, with a heavy heart and a steely resolve, I made the difficult decision to walk away. Away from Alex, away from my parent, away from the toxic web of lies and deceit that had ensnared us all. It was a painful choice, but it was the only choice that offered a glimmer of hope amid the darkness. As I packed my bags and said my final goodbyes, I felt a sense of liberation wash over me. The weight of betrayal lifted from my shoulders, replaced by the lightness of newfound freedom. I may have been betrayed, but I refused to be defined by it. And so, with my head held high and my heart set on a brighter tomorrow, I stepped out into the unknown. The road ahead would be long and difficult, fraught with challenges and obstacles at every turn. But I was ready to face whatever lay ahead, ready to reclaim my life on my own terms. For though I may have been betrayed, I refused to be broken. And in the end, that was the greatest victory of all. Leaving behind the wreckage of betrayal was both liberating and terrifying. As I stepped into the unknown, I felt a sense of freedom I hadn't experienced in years, but it was accompanied by a nagging uncertainty about what the future held. In the days that followed, I found myself surrounded by a supportive network of friends and family who lifted me up when I felt like I was drowning in despair. Their unwavering love and encouragement became the life raft that kept me afloat in the stormy sea of heartache. With their help, I began to rebuild my shattered sense of self-worth and reclaim the pieces of my life that had been scattered to the winds. I threw myself into new hobbies and interests, rediscovering passions I had long forgotten in the tumult of my failed relationship. But healing was a slow and painful process, and there were days when the pain of betrayal threatened to overwhelm me once again. In those moments of weakness, I turned to therapy and counseling for guidance, seeking solace in the wisdom of professionals who helped me navigate the turbulent waters of my emotions. As time passed, I found myself growing stronger and more resilient with each passing day. The wounds of betrayal may never fully heal, but they no longer held the power to define me. I was more than the sum of my past traumas, more than the victim of someone else's selfishness and deceit. And so, armed with newfound confidence and a renewed sense of purpose, I forged ahead into a future filled with endless possibility. I may have been betrayed, but I refused to let that betrayal rob me of my happiness or my humanity. In the end, I emerged from the ashes of betrayal stronger and more resilient than I had ever been before. I had survived the ultimate betrayal, and in doing so, I had discovered a strength within myself that I never knew existed. As I looked back on the journey that had brought me to this moment, I realized that while betrayal had shattered my world, it had also given me the opportunity to rebuild it from the ground up. I may have been betrayed, but I refused to be defeated. And so, with my head held high and my heart full of hope, I stepped boldly into the future, ready to embrace whatever challenges lay ahead. For though I may have been betrayed, I was also stronger than I had ever been before, and nothing could stand in the way of my happiness and my healing.